Tonight, we are all afraid. We cannot hide from our ghosts, whether they are real or not.
A Haunting in Venice is the third film in the Branagh Poirot films. It is an adaptation of the Agatha Christie novel Hallowe'en Party. Once again, Kenneth Branagh directs and stars in the film. Now, I haven't read any Agatha Christie novels. I have seen a couple of film adaptation of hers. However, the 1974 adaptation of And Then There Were None, which I caught on TV at like 1 in the morning, and the two Branagh Poirot films. So I don't really know much about Agatha Christie's stories, and just viewing them as movies. Before we get into this, like the Equalizer 3 review, let's take a look back on all the previous films.
And who are you?
My name is Hercule Poirot, and I am probably the greatest detective in the world.
Murder on the Orient Express is, what I think, a good film. I had a blast with the film. It was really good, and I thought it was very well directed. However, I felt when I watched it, and even rewatched it, a murder mystery, I always think to myself, is this film as good on a rewatch? With the Murder on the Orient Express, while I did enjoy it on first viewing, on a repeat viewing, it wasn't as great as my first experience watching it. I thought it was good the second time around, but I noticed that I was more invested in the end result rather than the characters per se, and maybe that is just a problem with the adaptation. And with the rewatch, with knowing what's going to happen, I wanted to pick up on any other little details. However, I didn't really pick up on anything new or was engaged by the dialogue. It just felt like I was only interested at the end result. Also, unlike, say, The Hateful Eight, where the dialogue is snappy and you get sucked into the amazing dialogue and it's atmospheric, this film, this dialogue wasn't as strong. So it was more like, once you find out, there isn't really any witty dialogue that pulls you back in. With The Hateful Eight, you're both engaged in it as a murder mystery, as well as its own film. However, with Murder on the Orient Express, the main point of it is to find out. You're just along for the ride. You're just following what's going to happen. And I don't know, I think I needed a bit more as a film adaptation. Maybe it works better as a novel compared to a movie. I did really like Kenneth Branagh's character Poirot in the film. I really enjoyed his character, and I was really eager to see Death on the Nile. Which brings us to Death on the Nile, which was, I think, an improvement on Murder on the Orient Express. I think the murder mystery was a tad more compelling. The visuals were much more vibrant and exhilarating, and it seemed like a much more expansive film compared to the first. Unfortunately, there is a weak link in the film, which was Gal Gadot. I know people love her as Wonder Woman, and she is hot as hell, but as some have discovered, she isn't a great actress. I know, I am as shocked too.
And enough champagne to fill the Nile.
Okay, well, maybe not that shocked, but she is really only pretty to look at. And it's not just me. Some of my friends and family have noticed it too. Anyway, I think Death on the Nile is an improvement on the previous movie. However, it still follows some of the problems in Murder on the Orient Express. Which brings us to this film. A Haunting in Venice.
Somebody is dead. No one shall leave this place until I know who did it.
This film goes for a much more smaller scale film than the previous two movies, and it is the shortest of the three. However, I still really enjoyed this film. I think the fact that it was a smaller film in contrast to the previous two films really helped as well. With the Orient Express and Death on the Nile, they were both on a vehicle. Everyone was trapped and Poirot has to uncover the mystery. However, in this film, Poirot is retired and is summoned back to suss out a woman who claims to have psychic abilities. However, when the woman says that the person who committed suicide was actually murdered, and then later on Poirot is almost killed, and the psychic was murdered, the film turns into a pseudo-horror murder mystery.
Don't look at me like I'm a suspect. We're old friends.
Every murderer is somebody's old friend.
This film really goes for the horror angle, and I admire this because it is a very different approach to the murder mystery formula laid out by the two former movies. I'm not going to spoil this movie. I think it was a very fun murder mystery film. What I do like about the film is that it does keep the supernatural element of the film ambiguous. I mean, I don't know about you, but I would feel cheated if all of the supernatural stuff was either all bullshit or, in fact, it was all real. And while this film leans more into the realm of supernatural phenomenon, I do believe that it is left ambiguous enough for the audience to interpret it if it's real or fake. I also like how the film used unique shots and emphasis the horrific tone they are going for. The acting by everyone was great. However, the standout is Michelle Yeoh. I really loved her, and I completely get why she won that Academy Award. I really liked her in this film. And she's really grown as an actress since her early kung fu action days.
No one shall leave until I find if the living have been killed by the dead.
Overall, I'd say this is a fun time all around. Oh, before I give the rating, quick shout out. I loved the setting of Venice. It is just claustrophobic, very sinister, but it's also very bright and brimming. It's a really lovely location, and it is, like I said before, it's different from the first two movies. I think the haunted house angle compared to the trapped on a vehicle was a really good approach. Instead of following up with, say, another murder on another vehicle, we are in a haunted house, and it really adds to the creepiness, the eeriness, and the tension in the air.
There must be a rational answer for all of this.
Just admit that you are up against something bigger than you.
So, I will give this movie 4 beers out of 10. A fun murder mystery. Is it the best of the Branagh movies? I don't know. I think so. I would have to rewatch Death on the Nile again. But on initial viewing, I'm going to say yes. I like this more than the previous movie. However, that's always subject to change. I think this movie is a really fun watch, and if you're gotta pick a movie to watch, I would pick this one. It's a fun murder mystery. Anyway, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Please comment what you thought of this movie, or better yet, recommend me an Agatha Christie story you think I should read. I mean, I really want to get into reading Agatha Christie novels, so let me know which novel I should pick. Either it be her famous ones or an underrated novel you think I should read. Anyway, as always, take care and have a good one.
You have been hiding here all this time.
Who are you talking to?